Hey, what's up YouTube? Coming back at you from Sal's Corner. I'm gonna fill you in on what's coming up next on my upcoming video. So, as you can see right here, that would be the old sweet intercooler out of Deliverance. So we're gonna touch on that here in a second. Second note, when I blew out the rear tires last year doing the speed limit, unless I was in Mexico, rims came back good, so they're good. Find some new skins for those, get these little skinny winter tires off. So this is what we got going on here today. So as you can tell, missing the front bumper, missing the intercooler. Bumper's over there, behind the super engine. So anytime you buy a used car that's had anything done to it, sometimes when you start taking stuff apart, you get to kind of look at and see, maybe, you know, we had talked about the previous video not having the right tools. So I do have the right tool. It's sitting right up here. And it happens to say Dremel on it. Excuse me. So when I bought the car, right, this front corner had a little tweakage on the front bumper. So I decided to take that off. I didn't really make it a video because it's literally a couple bolts and the front skin pulls off. But as we can tell here, that's why I got the light on. A lot of people that'll buy these aftermarket intercoolers, they don't have those right tools so they can, you know, clean this up. So took that off. I noticed that, you know, some other components have seen better days. So we're going to be fixing all of this, cleaning all of this up, and then let's walk back over to the intercooler. And it won't be tonight. Just did a little bit of painting over there on that puppy. So I'm not going to fill it full of. So here's our stock intercooler. I've polished all kinds of type of metal before, but never an intercooler. So we're going to see how that goes. So I'm thinking I'm going to polish, make this all look all brand shiny new, plus some. Yeah, plus a lot. Anyway, so we're going to polish that up, and then we're going to clean up the inside of where the intercooler sits. There's probably going to be some trimming on the bumper, which is over there. And we're just going to get to it, right? It's March. I know I'm not supposed to talk about time on here, but here in Minnesota, it's go time. And I've had tons of stuff going on. New house, lots of issues there. It's not like I love water in my basement, but that's now transpired a couple times now. Minnesota living in its finest. And then we're also going to get to the cat in the room. So for all of you BMW guys out there that are following, thank you so much for posting comments on my video about the alternator. There's going to be some more DIY stuff coming here soon. So not only the intercooler, that works for anyone. You can get a car, it's got a crummy looking intercooler. I'll show you the tools that I use and stuff like that. It's mainly a lot of handwork. I'm good at handwork. But anyways, so let's just flip back over here. So another thing that I noticed was that when I was looking down there, I saw this. That's never a good sign. Thinking, you know, maybe it happened before. If we look at this one's even prettier, or not pretty. So that makes me thankful that I have a lift. So let me just get you up over here, and we are gonna take a little gander underneath here. So I am not, you know, I'm not a welder. That's Kelm's world. I'm glad, but I don't think Kelm would ever do anything like that. But more importantly, you can see the drippage that we got here in my transmission. So I don't know if that's a gasket issue. I don't know what happened before. All I know is, you know, she's a clean one owner. We got to make sure that it stays a clean one owner. So we got to get that fixed up. So there's probably going to be a DIY coming soon on how to pull this. There's a reason there was a pause, this beautiful thing out of the car, and make sure that everything's good. However, let me crawl out. So the only reason it's that low is just for the fact I wanted to show you, you know, this jagged stuff. You can see that they kind of went through here. So we're gonna get that. We're gonna make this look like Deliverance, right? It should look pretty mean when it's sitting behind you. Obviously the goal is that you wouldn't see the front end of the car unless I'm losing, but either which way. So we got that going. That's going to be coming up. That's going to be a lot of fast forwarding. So I'm going to give you information on the products I'm using, what sandpapers I'm using, and the other products, which is, I mean, I'll give you a clue right here. That right there. So that is the product that will make this dull looking aluminum look like chrome. So we're going to do this up. I might do some painting on it as well. I still got to figure that out. But anyways, you guys keep watching. There's more to come. As a side note, I want to see some comments about this. So Brad worked his rear end off and created a new intro for Unified, which I absolutely love. I made it stop right here because it looks so sweet as it's kind of melting in. How about some positive feedback on that? That'd be good. But I am here. I am alive. I'm working. So you're going to see more of me, I promise. Me and my old body here. So with that being said, you know what you got to do. You got to like, you got to subscribe. Let's get it. Alright, so basically what you saw is a whole lot of sanding and a whole lot of, well, sanding. So I'm just going to get you really close and just kind of step you through what I was doing with what. So here it is now. I know you saw some pictures of it when it was a little bit rougher, right? So to give you an example, if I scrape my finger, pretty smooth. Now this side, not perfect. I don't need it to be perfect, but if so you can hear a little bit. And then if I go back to the back side and do that, all right, that's pretty rough. Okay, so if you have a drill, you get an adapter, you get these little pads, right? So I got 800s, I got 600s. Those are either 400s or 1000s. All right, so 400, 600, 800, 1000. Okay, so obviously on a drill it spins. So if we look really close, mean, you can still see, I mean, at 1,000 grit, I mean, those lines are pretty insignificant. And as I finish this, you're gonna see that 1,000 grit's kind of overkill for the products I'll use afterwards. On the side here, so this isn't any vehicle specific. This is just if you have an intercooler, you want to polish it up. This right here. So for example, I could now work really close on getting all of these little pits and grooves out for myself. The BMW only is going to show about this much of the intercooler, so I'm just going to focus on polishing up to just, in my opinion, increase the benefit of this area, make it a little bit more cosmetic. So now, before I get to the final step of polishing, which until I get done painting, right, so I'm going to paint this as well, I'm not pushing tons of horsepower, so I can do some painting. Now, if you wanted 1,000 horsepower, you're probably not going to want any type of paint to touch your intercooler, because you can watch the videos, right? Straight aluminum is going to be your best bet. You know, for myself, I'm not going to be like I said, not a ton of horsepower. So now at this point, right? So the bottom side I'm obviously not going to see, and this back part I'm not going to see. But as you can tell, all right? So I'm just now at this point, I'm going to clean that up. So first, we'll start back with the drill. Right, a manual drill is going to work out best in this because you're just going to burn through batteries using anything else. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, I was using my just cordless drill. Well, it didn't take long for that battery to die. I had more batteries, but then I was just told myself that this was the best bet. All right, you can go buy these Harbor Freight. They're, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks. They're super cheap. These pads and the adapter, also again, super cheap. You did see that I burned through quite a few of them. And that touches on the next part, right? This is aluminum, so it relatively is going to clean up relatively easily. But what you want to make sure you're doing is you're taping everything, right? I mean, the last thing you want to do is get this all polished up, not tape it off, and then have a ton of raw metal on the inside of your intercooler, which then feeds into your intake. Not a good deal. So with that being said, if I look real close, I mean, there are, right? I mean, there's a few spots, but as you'll see, we're not going to be too worried about those. And even on this side, we're not. So on this side, basically, this is going to be my line. So once I get done polishing, I'm going to tape it. There is one final step to polishing. I won't do that until after I apply the paint. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to prep these back areas for paint. With that being said, all right, here we keep going. This is time consuming. All right, it's time consuming. Maybe do an intercooler, right? It's mainly flat line, so it's not going to take you a ton of time. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a couple hours invested into doing what I'm doing. By the time it gets put back on the car, however, you're talking maybe, I would say 2-3 days, right? You want that paint, the ability to cure for a little bit. So as I said there, right, we don't want to sand too much. It's aluminum. This is a porous, right? So we don't want to burn a hole. We don't want to burn a hole in our solder or our welds. And we want to make sure we got everything taped off. So now that I got this kind of smoothed up, again, if you look at this, the reason that I left all this tape here is I want to make sure that when I put my boot on, this actual raw aluminum is, you know, when it's rough, it's going to have a better friction surface. So I'm not going to smooth all this out so my boots just fall off. So without further ado, when it comes to the painting side, all I'm going to do is this 400 grit, I'm just going to scuff it right up. I'm not seeing the bottom. I'm not going to see this. I'm just going to paint it so I myself know that it's kind of a complete project. So. just got this down for friction. So hopefully, okay. So you can see these. So these are your bars that come with the Zephyr kit. So the top is good. So we'll start that stage 2. Stage 1, I'm gonna do these sides. So here's how it looks. All right, so let's take a little gander. That's just phase 1. Opposed to all right, let's keep rocking. All right, ready for round 2? All right, so as you saw, I mean, we're at stage 3 now. So I got that set up. I'll just give you a quick little toss around here. So it went from not very shiny to pretty dang shiny. So I got about 30 minutes of record time on this card. So let's get back to it. All right, I'm gonna keep wiping and then I'll show you what it looks like after stage 3. So here we go. Okay, so that was stage 3. You can go over that as long as you want to. So as you saw, I'm using a rotary, right? So the faster it goes, the more heat it creates. The more heat it creates, you know, a little bit higher sheen. End result though, you can take any intercooler. It doesn't really matter how rough it is. So if you got a nice intercooler that's just seen its age, I'm just here to tell you that you can bring that back to life. So again, you know, if we took a look at the top, you know, there might still be some lines in here. I'm not going to see this overly, but as you can tell, yeah, you couldn't do that before. I could do this before too, is right. So it came out to the way that I wanted it to be. So I'm probably going to see about this much of it. You know, you might see a little bit of this flange when it's in the car. So I just wanted to shine it up. And I'm not 100% done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the polish part, and the polishing isn't 100% yet. And I'll show you that once it's all done. However, I only got about 20 minutes of video left. So now what I'm going to do, so we'd already kind of sanded the rough parts. So this line, so I'm going to try to make a nice line here with tape. Okay, so I'm going to tape that off, and then I'm going to paint the underside and do some painting. So when you come back, I'm just going to get this taping done, and then you'll see exactly what I'm painting. All right, so you guys already saw all the prep work. So this is where we're at right now. Okay. So all that polished area is all taped off. Everything's all kind of prepped, right? So we're not worried about that. It's just gonna be paint. It's gonna be paint. So, all right. So instead of just watching you watch, well, instead of you watching me spray paint or paint this, how about I just show you what it looks like here in a few minutes. So obviously there's lots and lots of video about how we've gotten to this point, right? So at this point, before the paint gets completely cured, I'm going to start peeling back the areas that I wanted to be not painted. So we'll just start at the top, as you can tell, like nice and sheen. So if all went well, we should be able to we got like what, like 20 minutes of video. Like, we're kind of stressing the clock here too, but nonetheless, like, I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're looking at here. So while the paint is still a little bit, I mean, it's not fully cured by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes it's better to get it while it's tacky. So if you see, like, I'm kind of trying to slick this again. Layers have multiple layers, so let's get those in. So far, so good. Giving deliverance a little bit of attitude. Little bit of attitude. Person taking the video right now, you know, like, I get that from her. Or this is all gonna tie together. However, okay, so this by itself looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. So, like, get in here, babe. I mean, it's all about the paint prep. So this area I obviously didn't hit with paint prep, and that's, I can maybe touch that up later. We're not going to see it anyways. However, now come over to this side. So now, what we're going to do is hopefully try to expose all that hard work of polishing that we did earlier. While the paint is still a little tacky, prime time to show you what we're talking about here. So now I'm going to come over here.
This is for you, Brad.
Stop it. Oh, she can't help herself sometimes. Alright, so what she's gonna be doing. Oh, that top layer is looking good, looking good, looking good. Basically, what this is to show you is that I gotta get this side, Dave. Just the line. So this isn't perfect. We're not going to see all of this. So like I had said, like from here up, but nonetheless, once this is all cured, and Jamie goes around this here, gets the other side. Oh, that right there looks skexy. I mean, not as skexy as my beautiful girlfriend, but just saying, that looks damn good. Well, eventually I'll work on, you know, some of these are kind of flattened down, but nonetheless, I think you guys got the gist of it. So, coming up next, it's obviously we would go up on the lift. You gotta trim the front bumper so that I can see more of this intercooler. We're gonna do the brakes. And with that being said, we got about like 10 seconds left of footage. So why don't you look at me? All right, keep on watching, boys and gals. Unified Racing.